test it out. So yeah, we're going to have a nice chat about the AYRx program before we get started. I wanted to start just by saying thank you for jumping in and doing the new program. I'm very excited about it. I feel like it will give the aerial yoga play enough of a distinction so people really understand the therapeutic quality of it. So we're going to do 3 days instead of 4. The 4th day is a partnering training. That's a really fun, more dynamic, playful way to use the swing, kind of like the advanced day in aerial yoga play. Will you mind throwing me one of those pillows, hon? Thank you so much.
Anyone else want one?
Why not, right? We're here. So, thank you. So aerial yoga play was the first incarnation as an offspring of the quantum playground. And with the AYRx training, AerialYogaRx, it really talks more about the regenerative and therapeutic qualities of using this swing to heal and open up the spine, particularly focusing on the spine. So the first, I think, 25 pages of the manual is talking about the spine and the benefits of the spine and the benefits of the practice, and we're going to go over that. So what we're going to cover in the next 3 days is 25 of the therapeutics. I broke it up into 3 sections, basically. Upper body and then lower body with 2 segments. So lower body meaning like lower back and hips, and then legs. So the lower body just was so extensive, I just decided to break it up into 2 sections. So today we're going to mainly focus on the upper body. And the upper body is basically going to be, if we turn our manual to the 2nd page, it will say in number 1, you can just put like a square or a star next to number 1. We're going to go over the head and neck and that connection, the upper back, the chest and heart, the shoulders, arms, and then into the hands and wrists. So those are the 6 therapeutics that we learned today. Now, tomorrow we'll do the first part of the lower body, and then the last day we'll work on the rest of the legs and hamstrings and quads and hips and into the feet. So it'll be a lot of information, but the way that I have it structured is we use all of the poses and sequences and names that we're familiar with in aerial yoga play, and we're just applying them. So this is the application of that practice that we've already just become familiar with for some of us, and some of us practicing for a while. And so it's really great to know if somebody comes in with like a problem with their neck, which practice to go to, which part of the sequencing to focus on. Now, with that said, I do have 4 new sequences that I teach you in the AYRx program that are not in the aerial yoga play manual. So we are fleshing it out with some new sequencing. All of the videos are documented in the manual, and you can click on those and have access to review. And there will be, since I just recorded them in January, there'll be a whole nother set of videos for you to use as well. So there'll be plenty of videos, but we'll also document and have archived our experience here, which is always good to have. So we will bop around in different orders. I also wanted to go over with you, if we just go back to the first page, we're going to extensively go over the restorative use of the swing. But what I'm going to focus on for the next couple days for you guys, since we're not doing the partnering, is the YOGASSAGE. Now there are 6 YOGASSAGE sequences that we will do 2 each day. Okay, so today we're going to do the Chillaxin YOGASSAGE sequence and the cocooning. So I think those are the 2 most important ones, and they happen to be really good for the upper back. I mean, they're also good for the lower back. So everything is kind of repetitive and redundant in the manual, so that's why one of the reasons why the manual is so big. But we can see how like Chillaxin can be used for almost any pose, right? Almost any body part, right? So whether that be working with the neck or the upper back or the lower back or the hips. So some of the things like that, we'll just note that there's poses that we can use for multiple things simultaneously, like flying butterfly, or the butterfly pose is opening up the shoulders and the chest as well as the hips and the legs. at the same time, right? So things like that we will go into more detail. So instead of combing through the AYP manual and labeling everything for the body parts, we're breaking it up into body parts and then adding whatever sequences we want to focus on there. Does that make sense? Yeah? Okay, great. So I would like to, besides talking about the spine, I would like to cover the different systems of the body that are impacted and affected by the use of the swing, not only for overall optimal health, but dealing with chronic fatigue and autoimmune disorders and MS and different degenerative disorders that have been, diagnosed by Western medicine, and how beneficial it is for the endocrine system and the hormones in particular. Brain function is a big focus of mine and interest of mine. So I've been interested in doing more of the neuroscience studies and doing the research to really show what changes are happening and fluctuations are happening in all the systems of the body, but particularly the brain. So that is something that we'll talk about, and then talk about how obviously all the inversions are good for both the endocrine system and lymph system, and the importance of going upside down, but also the variations that we have in the poses, like Ladle, for example. Since you guys know the names, please just stop me if you're like, which one is that? Since we're not doing the illustrations. So Ladle, for example, is one of the absolute best poses because it's an inversion and a backbend simultaneously. And the way that we kind of pump the body, I call it, by changing planes and coming up and coming back down, coming up and coming back down through the vinyasa flows, it's actually like turning on or priming the endocrine system and lymph and that kind of thing. So all of the sequencing and poses that were created in aerial yoga play were very deliberately put together in order to work some of these systems and to have that profound experience. And now we really go into the understanding of that, as well as create new sequencing or new ways of working with the body that can be specific for an injury or an illness we come across. So what I was doing with the other teachers was having an opportunity to have an interview and talk about how we want to apply the swing, or what type of application do we see it being most significant in our lives, either imagining or projecting into the future, or in real time, things that we've encountered and have been working on and have had tremendous success or benefit. So I'm putting together special videos like that along the way. For example, I was mentioning to Heather that we could go through an immune boosting practice and like have a video that we can actually access that is specific for different systems like that. And so Raspberry took a workshop last year with me and was really quite under the weather, and noticed that she felt immediately better by kind of pumping and priming the body in these different ways that is kind of like creating more heat and more circulation, but also allowing the immune system to boost. So there's some cool things like that we'll do with the AYRx program that would obviously be different than a yoga class or a fitness program or some of the other categories that we get grouped with. It's obviously not an aerial arts practice, It can be used for tricks and flips and for fun, like in that acrobatic way, which I really love. And the partner play is a little bit more of that, where it's still therapeutic, but it's a little bit more dynamic and challenging. So it is more advanced, but it's really fun and people love it. So we'll talk about that, and I might do an example or two. But more than anything, I really just want to dive into the upper body today and talk about the head, the neck, the spine, working specifically with the C7 joint, which you guys have heard me mention these things in workshops or in the training. But now we get to really kind of dive in and get into more of those details. So I consider this a more of like, aerial yoga play would be like a college course, and then this would be the graduate level program. So I'm going to share a lot of my 20 years of experience in body work and healing arts and all of that, and kind of combine it with what we do with the swing in a way for me that feels like really rewarding and satisfying to be able to create positive change in people's lives. So that's been really exciting for me to see that there's actually a practice where I can start to combine all of my information and expertise and offer something that's unique as well, because I just haven't seen a program like this. I'm sure they exist, I just haven't seen it. So it'll be fun to lead with the AYRx. Once you guys get certified in this, then you can offer AYRx training. You can still call it Aerial Yoga Play if you're not going to focus on Therapeutix. But if you do want to call it the AYRx program, I think it's really good to start distinguishing it with the new branding. I'm still it's only been like since January 1st that I've launched the whole new program. So even though I've been talking about it for a couple of years, it's now live and there's a whole new website, and we'll go over the website so you guys get a real sense of how to navigate that. There's a whole membership-based system. There's a community area, so there's a whole discussion forum. There's a whole affiliate program, so you guys really want to get yourself signed up with your own affiliate links so that you can have your own commissions just tracked through there, especially since you do such a good job here at the temple. It'll just do it automatically, and automatically each month send you a PayPal, and it's really amazing. So, and then with that, in kind of seeing the trajectory of where I'm going with the AYRx program, I'm only going to require really the basic training is essential. And like, I know you've done the basic training with me. So it's helpful to do basic, intermediate, and advanced with AYP, but you have to have at least the basic training done so you know the names and sequences and stuff. And then after that, somebody can take the AYRx if somebody is like, I really have no desire to do acrobatics at all. Like I'm working with doctors and physical therapists and chiropractors, and so for them, that's, maybe down the line interesting. But the basic AYP training is now online, available to be taken from anywhere in the world and get that certification. And then I'll be doing back-to-back trainings where I do Aerial Yoga Play and then AYRx in different locations. And that way it's required to do the intermediate and advanced in person as well as the AYRx in person. But I've created a whole new online learning management system, and that way training can be done from afar and at people's own time and pace, and it's also half price, so that gives people, those, stumbling blocks that people come across when they want to do something but then aren't able to hang out with us. I think it's really great to give them opportunities like that online, so that's really exciting. So we'll go through the website together and so you guys can really get a sense of that. But today I wanted to start with, I'm going to be looking at which you guys all got, I'm going to be looking at the manual and referencing some things, but you guys are just going to hang out with the simple outline, but know that you guys got the Dropbox for this, and so it will be, it's now like 100 pages, it'll probably be 150 or 200 pages. Raspberry and I are going to go through and edit everything and flesh out more of the information, and that's going to be, so it's just going to be really special. I have a vision of what it's going to look like and what's going to happen, and so this is just the first 1.0 version of it. So I wanted to just, before we get in the swing, talk a little bit more about the spine. And from your personal experience, I'm sure you guys already know all of this. Just FYI, in the manual, you do get another copy of the outline for AYP for quick reference. If you're like, what is that? What pose is that? That's the quick reference. Obviously, the AYP manual would give you fuller descriptions. But it starts out with that outline. And then the 30-day yoga swing challenge that I launched last September, which are 5 to 10 minute videos, are quick reference videos for the manual right now. So it just gives, if you wanted to even start your classes, assuming you're going to teach, but just to start out with a client or a class and just follow those videos to work on different body parts. If you're not sure what to do, all of the videos for the 30-day yoga swing challenge are broken up into body parts instead of, calling it Chillaxin sequence or floating Buddha, which doesn't mean anything to anybody if they're looking to relieve lower back pain, right? So I revamped the whole system, as well as online. If you guys haven't seen it yet, there's a whole body model where you actually just move your mouse over it and that body part lights up and then you click on the video that brings you right to how to work with lower back or neck and all that. So it's like pretty amazing. So yeah, we'll go through the website. It's really cool. So yeah, so that's all done and ready on the AYRx. So it's also a nice way when you're working with somebody to reference it and be like, hey, this is how, if they buy a swing or if they're practicing at home as well, how to guide them into relieving different illness, injury, all of that stuff. And that right now we have 50 videos up, but it's going to be 100 and then 200, and it'll all be archived online. They can purchase individual videos for like $5 or something. I think it's $3.99. But then there's a membership where you just do $29 a month for unlimited streaming of the videos. So not downloaded, but streamed off the website for those that want to have that practice. While I'm thinking of it, I wanted to mention that, so the aerial yoga play and AYRx training, you get continual educational credits for it. So this is a 20-hour program as well as the AYP's 20 hours. So that's 40 total. What I've set up with the new website, since there's so many new sequences and so much more information coming in, is that each month I'm going to have, and this is all optional, but I highly recommend it, of course, is there's one continual educational credit per month offered through the website. So it's only like $9 a month for teachers. It's the educational one. So I made it like super affordable for you guys to get new videos each month and to kind of like keep practicing and keep studying and keep growing in the sequencing. So since you guys have already made such a huge investment, I just made that level $9, and those are the educational videos. And so then there will be like a course you can take and like a quiz you can take to get the CEC credits for that. So that will be the new sequencing like we're going to do. They will all be online and available to review. So after a year, you'll have 12 more credits, and so that'll be 52, on top. So for people who need the CECs and that are using that towards, I'm actually going to see if I can apply some of the YOGASSAGE stuff we are doing towards bodywork certification and everything. So right now it's for yoga, but I'm going to see if I can branch that out and what the requirements are for those credits to be used for other things as well. I just think it's good to know that like all of that's been kind of in mind and set up online for us to benefit from. So quick reference for the manual. If anybody does have their iPad or laptop and want to follow along, you can always bring that. Just letting you know it's here and we can talk about it later. The other thing that I've been doing in preparation for the AYRx training is I've been writing a lot of articles and posting them on the new website. So if for a quick reference, if you want to review the benefits of the spine or, how healing going upside down is, things like that, then look in the blog posts on the website, and that'll be a really good reference for you to follow the key points. So let's just talk about the significance of the spine and the benefits of hanging upside down and why this practice just works so well for different bodies. Okay, and I'm going to pause the video and make it in different sections too. Easier to edit.